Chapter 6, Back to School. Max Ernest couldn't have been in a worse mood. Reading the pre-learned book hadn't helped him get any closer to reading Cass's mind. Pre-learned, as every aspiring book thief should know, means stolen. There is a famous story by Edgar Allan Poe called The Pre-learned Letter. In the story, nobody can figure out where the pre-learned letter has been hidden until Poe's hero, the detective Dupin, realizes it has been sitting on the mantelpiece right in front of everybody's nose. As far as he was concerned, second sight, seeing with your third eye, in 4 easy steps might as well have been written by someone who really had 3 eyes. It was that silly. After this particular book provided to be for little value, he managed to secure his parents' permission to comb through their bookshelves. The immediate arrival of Max Ernest's baby brother seemed to have made them relax their guard. "Just keep an eye out for any baby how-to books we might have missed," said his father. "Let us know if you find any more books about raising babies," said his mother. Max Ernest sat on the office floor for hours, reading book after book on babies, but on extraordinary perception, some logical and scientific, but for the most fictional for his taste. But he learned a fair amount of fascinating trivia. Biolocation, for instance, is a condition of being in 2 places at once, just as often had to be where his parents lived in separate places. Dowsing was a form of deviation that involved the use of a wire and pendulum to locate missing objects. He wondered whether Miss Johnson's using a magnet to locate the tuning fork would count. And scarring was using an object such as a crystal ball or a mirror as a fairway events, which is pretty much what you're doing when you're watching television, Max Ernest reflected. Not really all that impressive. There are many theories about how and whys and wherefores of mental telepathy, but it all sounded more or less like hogwash to Max Ernest. And in any case, he found no instructions for reading minds of a comatose girl. For most of what he read advised him to start by looking into someone's eyes. Cass's were closed. Studying the person's facial expressions. Cass made very few. Or listening to his or her voice. Cass was pretty much silent. Why do they call it mind reading and not mind seeing or mind hearing? Max Ernest wondered. If all they can do is tell you is to look and listen. As the master detector and puzzle solver, Max Ernest was used to finding a single key or a set of rules, a Rubik with which to solve the problem that confronted him. The book advised him to rely on his intuition, which frustrated him greatly. What's an intuition anyways? He grumbled to himself. An intuition is nothing, it's a hunch. It's not logical. It has no basis in anything. I don't have intuition, I have ideas. His reading didn't lead him to a couple of unexpected discoveries, however. The first involved Miss Johnson's magnet pendant. One of the so-called magical objects Max Ernest read about in the Lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet. He had thought Miss Johnson's pendant looked like a stone, and now he was sure of it. Not that the information was useful in any way. Somehow he doubted he could wake up Cass by waving a black rock over her face. Even to geologists, the lodestone, also known as a magnetite, is somewhat mysterious. Most now believe the lodestone giant its magnetic force when it is struck by lightning, but nobody knows for certain. The other discovery involved the kick me sign. With the help of the book called The Open Mind, Max Ernest was finally able to decode the message on the back. Negativity is your enemy, the book advised him. Remember, the N-word is a dirty word. Just say no to no. Cut it out of your vocabulary. Max Ernst had no intention of cutting no from his vocabulary. It was one of his favorite words. But he could cut the N word out of the coded message, he thought. Bring olives, not N words. Perhaps it meant to cut the N words, that is, the words containing the letter N, out of the message. When he did so, warning El Train Lord Fair, changing brings olives, not N words, became Lord Fair Olives, or Lord Fair Olives. For a glance, the shortened message made even less sense than the original. Then it hit him. The message was a prophecy. A prophecy spelled that was Lord Pharaoh lives. Max Ernst experienced only the briefest satisfaction for having solved the puzzle before growing angry. What kind of message is this? Is it like something you see written on a bathroom wall, Elvis lives, or my favorite sports team, rock band, whatever rules? It was a slogan, not a real message. One thing was for certain. It wasn't from Pietro. Come to think of it, as much as Pietro loved practical jokes, he would never put a kick-me sign on Max Ernst's back. Pietro was far too soft-hearted. It was the Midnight Sun taunting him with the name of their alchemist hero and founder, Lord Pharaoh. That was the only possible explanation. The message had no meaning other than to show Max Ernst how close they could get to him without him knowing. That was clear. Very close. That was clearly very close. So who put the message on his back? That was the question he was asking himself. The next morning, as he walked through the school, instead of thinking about an oral report on gestures in Shakespearean plays for language arts, they were doing a Shakespeare unit in preparation for the Renaissance Fair. Max Ernst had volunteered to cover gestures, not realizing it meant he was actually supposed to read the plays the gestures appeared in. Glav and Daniel, not Danielle, marginally friendlier now, nodded to him as he passed the nut table. The kick me part he could easily imagine them writing, but Agents of the Midnight Sun, not writing ones anyways. The most obvious candidate, really the only candidate, was Amber. Officially, she was the nicest girl in school. Unofficially, she was an agent, although hardly a full-fledged member of the Midnight Sun. By the time he reached Amber sitting at her usual table in the very center of the schoolyard, he already A. convinced himself that she was the culprit, B. imagined all the brave and scornful things he would say to her when he saw her, and then C. decided not to confront her at all. It would give her too much satisfaction. Unfortunately, Amber, who usually didn't relish talking to Max Ernst any more than he relished talking to her, chose this of all mornings to flag him down for a conversation. Max Ernst, hello! Come over here. He did his best to act as though he couldn't hear her. At last Amber would not be put off. Max Ernst, yoo-hoo! I know you can hear me. Ignoring Amber was fast becoming more confrontational than answering her would be. So Max Ernst stopped and turned in her direction. But he didn't say anything. He just waited. Her expression was very plainly saying, yes, what do you want? Across the table, Amber and her best friend Veronica watched, eager to see what would happen. Amber smiled widely. Aren't you even going to say hi? I wasn't really planning on it, said Max Ernst. Undoubtedly, Amber smiled even wider. Well, I am. Hi, Max Ernst. How are you? How was your summer? Why are you saying hi to me? You don't even talk to me. You hate me, said Max Ernst naturally. Or is it just because you want to see if you know it was you who left the message? He wondered silently. Oh, come on. All that stuff that happened between us is so 3 months ago. Can't we just be friends? Ask anybody. I'm really nice. Veronica nodded vigorously. She totally is. Some people think I'm the nicest person in school. Did you know that? Yeah, I did. But it doesn't mean they're right. Gosh, what did I ever do to you? I mean, seriously. Well, let's see. Max Ernst was about to start answering the question, beginning with the time Amber accused him and Cass of liking each other. Liking. that is, which Max Ernst felt should be called more than liking, and which in most cases never should be applied to him and Cass. Continuing with the time Amber helped the Midnight Sun capture their friend, the homologist, and ending with the kick me sign, but he thought better of it. I think you know, he said. So, now I'm a psychic or something? Amber laughed. Actually, I am. Me and Veronica are doing a fortune-telling today. We didn't want to have to wait all the way to the Wren's Fair to find out everybody's fortune, so can I tell you your fortune? No. Pretty please? Why? Why not? Are you scared? Max Ernst didn't have the energy to argue. Besides, maybe Amber knew something about the Midnight Sun was up to. She might inadvertently reveal something useful if he allows her to read his cards. Okay, but just so you know, I don't believe in this stuff. Sit. Max Ernst expected to see tarot cards again, but the deck Amber was shuffling in front of him was a normal deck of playing cards, besides the fact that they were pink and sparkled on the backside. Okay, the first card is a romance card. Let's see if it tells us you like somebody or not. She peeled the top card off the deck and looked and smiled. Ooh, it's a 10 of hearts. That's a big yes. 10 out of 10, totally in love. Who is it, Max Ernst? Don't be shy. Tell us who it is. It's nobody, said Max Ernst's face red. Why did I consent to doing this? I must have had a temporary lapse in sanity, he thought. I'd better have my cerebral cortex examined. There could be damage. Who would laparoscopic surgery be in order? Oh, come on. The cards don't lie. Besides, we all know who it is, Amber said mischievously. Cass, are you listening? A small crowd had gathered around, including, among others, Danielle, and Glob. Ordinarily, Amber would have never allowed anybody from the nut table to linger too close, but evidently this was a special occasion. Cass, I think you have a not-so-secret admirer, she called out. I think he's ready to propose. Glob, who was stumbling with a brand-new bubble gum called the Volcano, laughed so loud it spit an entire wad of gum, which proceeded to erupt onto the asphalt. The next card says, the big event in your life, Amber continued. Not quite as loud of a voice. What do you guys think it will be? Will Max Ernst have a certain girl be getting married soon? I won't say who, but she is a really big, beautiful ears. She removed the next card from the top of the deck and studied it. Her face turned serious. Oh no, is somebody sick? She asked Max Ernst, sounding very distressed, because this card was the Queen of Spades, which means somebody you love is going to die. Amber scanned the crowd around them. Come to think of it, where is Cass? Did she come to school today? I hope she's okay. Max Ernst felt sick to his stomach. He wanted to say something angry and defiant, but he was utterly unable to speak. Benjamin Blake, who had joined the group just after Amber started telling Max Ernst his fortune, stepped forward. May I see that, miss? Asked Benjamin. He was his exaggeratedly formal way. My name is Amber. Well then, may I please see the card, Miss Amber? What do you mean? What card? Asked Amber, flustered. The one in your hand, of course. Why? Amber held the card to her chest, not allowing anybody to see it. Because it's not the Queen of Spades. I don't know why you would make someone think that. Surely you don't think it's amusing to see someone whom Max Ernst cared for would die. Nonetheless, it's in fact that you lied. The card in your hand is a 3 of clubs. How do you know? If it's not a queen, show us. Seemingly unable to help herself, Amber peeked the card out of her hand, and it was apparently so startled she dropped the card on the table. Max Ernst grabbed it before she could. Sure enough, it was the 3 of clubs. He held it up for all to see. Sheesh, Amber. That was kind of uncool, Danielle piped up unexpectedly from under his dreadlocks. Yeah, way uncool, agreed Glob. What happened to the whole next girl in school thing? He curled 2 fingers of each hand, making an intentional air quotes. Danielle, and Glob, and half a dozen others standing around walked away, shaking their heads. Oh, come on, old chum. Time for class, said Benjamin Blake. He pulled a still reeling Max Ernst away. Amber and Veronica glared after them. How did you do it? Asked a slightly more cheerful Max Ernest over lunch when they were again sitting at the nut table. This time Benjamin had asked permission to sit. Did you force the card in Amber's deck? When she wasn't looking? Benjamin shook his head. I don't even know what that means. You know, to set it up so she would take it. She had no choice. Well then, no, I didn't force it. But you did see her card before she did. You must have. No? Did you have a mirror? No? Somebody signaled you. Benjamin shook his head. Max Ernest looked at him, equally impressed and confused. Then I give up. How did you know what card she was holding? Benjamin smiled mysteriously. A magician never reveals his tricks. You of all people should know that. Max Ernest, did I hear that you wanted to be a magician? Or a stand-up comedian / magician or something like that? That's how I know there's no way to do that trick, or no regular way. Then maybe I was really reading Amber's mind. Have you considered that possibility? Yeah, right, sure, said Max Ernest. And he thought again about what Pietro said. Was he too quick to discount the possibility of a real mental telepathy? Pietro had suggested that Max Ernest should be open to things he didn't understand. Besides, if there was any chance that Benjamin knew something about the mind reading, Max Ernest had to find out what it was. Cass's life was on the line. Wait a second. Who told you I wanted to be a magician? Oh, everybody knows. Yeah, but who told you? Like I said, everybody. That's exactly what you said about how you knew Cass was in the hospital. And maybe everybody knows I want to be a magician, but not everybody knows about Cass. Almost nobody knows that. So what are you trying to say? What am I? He couldn't say it. It sounded too inconceivable. Max Ernest decided to try an experiment. You're reading my mind, he thought, as clearly as he could. You can actually read minds. Benjamin didn't say anything for a moment. Then he stunned Max Ernest through the monocle. Then he nodded. Yes, old chum, I can. Max Ernest stared. Here was proof, if any more were needed. You need not look so surprised. It's just like your friend Pietro said about the things that appear to be magic. It's not the mental telepathy cannot be explained. It's just it hasn't been explained yet. Don't tell me you're reading my mind too. Benjamin nodded. Max Ernest shook his head in amazement. Okay, then explain telepathy. Does it have something to do with your synthesia? Is that how you can do it? Not directly, no. As a Promethean, they trained me in mind control. It's amazing what you can do when you concentrate hard enough. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you right now. Because you don't really know how you do it, or because you're not allowed. Both. Who taught you? Special teachers, said Benjamin vaguely. Experts. Can you teach me? Sorry. No, I can't do that, old chum. Well, is mind reading more like reading, or is it more like seeing? Max Ernest asked, with more than a hint of desperation. Can you at least tell me that? The question had been plaguing Max Ernest ever since he read the books on Second Sight. If mind reading was a kind of reading, then there was a hope. It meant there was a code he might crack. If mind reading was more like seeing, truly a sort of second sight, well, he wasn't sure how he would go about it. Huh. Benjamin paused. Do you have 2C words to read them, right? Not if you're blind and reading Braille. Then you touch them, Max Ernest pointed out. Or somebody could spell the words for you out loud, then you'd have to be hearing it first. And I even know about two brothers who spelled words for each other with smell signals. How about that? The brothers would be Pietro and Dr. L, or Lucentio. Of course, when they were only 11 years old, they used the symphony of smells to communicate in smell code as part of their circus act. How about that? Echoed Benjamin. So which is it then? Do you look into somebody's mind, or do you read it? Benjamin shrugged. Both, neither, it's too hard to say. To say Max Ernest was frustrated is an understatement. Here, at last, was somebody with proven ability to read minds. But he, Max Ernest, was no closer himself to being able to read Cass's mind. Ugh, he thought. What am I going to do? Well, I could do it for you, said Benjamin calmly. I mean, if you'd like. Max Ernest almost jumped. He was so startled. He was going to have to be more careful with his thoughts in the future. Benjamin laughed. Don't worry, I don't usually look into people's minds without permission. Or read them, I mean. I consider it impolite. That's good, I guess, said Max Ernest. So you really think you could read Cass's mind? Even though she's in a coma? Benjamin smiled. I can try. Would you? Said Max Ernest, a flicker of hope lighting in his eyes. I'm really scared she's not going to wake up. Pietro, or somebody I know thinks it's getting into her head is the only way out. Benjamin removed his monocle and examined it thoroughly. There are a lot of things people in the hospital that might be a problem. I think it would be best if we were alone with her. We could try and get in after hours. There are still night nurses around and janitors and stuff, but it'd be easier to get a few minutes by ourselves. The problem is, we won't be allowed in because we're not family. We could create a diversion, suggested Benjamin, and then slip in when they're not looking. That could work. What if we cut off the electricity in the hospital for a few minutes? The darkness would give us cover and we'd have time to get into a room. Max Ernest shook his head. It's too hard. How would we cut off the backup generators? Besides, there's patients on life support machines. We don't want to kill anybody, do we? Benjamin furrowed his brow, as if this was the real question. No, I suppose not. That might cause problems. Hey, I know. I could create a diversion, said Max Ernest excitedly. I could pretend I'm having an epileptic fit, and then all the nurses would have to help me. And you could sneak into Cass's room. How about that? I've seen a couple epileptic fits before. I think I could make it pretty realistic. Benjamin looked impressed. I think that's a capital idea. Max Ernest's heart sank. Oh wait, then I would be able to be in the room with you. Forget it. You know, I hate to say it, but that might be better, said Benjamin hesitantly. No extra brainwaves to distract me. Believe me, you have a lot of brainwaves. I do? Asked Max Ernest curiously. Benjamin nodded. Most I've ever seen. I guess that makes sense, said Max Ernest flattered. Not to brag or anything, I've always had a ton of thoughts in my head. Sometimes it drives me crazy. I know the feeling, said Benjamin, extending his hand. So it's a deal then? It's a deal. They shook hands as solemnly as jewel thieves planning a heist. Later they discussed the finer details, drawing up floor plans and diagrams, exit strategies. Max Ernest wondered what he was doing was very wise. Saving Cass was supposed to be his job, after all, not Benjamin's. Pietro hadn't said anything about somebody else going inside Cass's head. What if Benjamin saw something he shouldn't see? Cass was hunting for the secret, after all. If she found it, would it be visible and readable, or whatever the word was, to Benjamin? Max Ernest pushed the thought aside. Benjamin might be listening in. Not only that, Benjamin was on their side. He had to be. The Midnight Sun had kidnapped him and nearly sucked his brain out. Cass and Max Ernest had rescued him from the fate worse than death. If Benjamin suspected that the Operation Mind Reading had anything to do with the ongoing battle between the Trace Society and the Midnight Sun, he would only be inspired to help out that much more. As for the secret, the only reason to believe Benjamin had ever heard of it, if by some quick of fate Benjamin had found out the secret in Cass's head, chances were he'd have no idea that it was in any consequence at all. Besides, Max Ernest half acknowledged to himself it was the nice feeling having a partner again, a friend, and he didn't want it to end. I must say, it was a stroke of bad luck that Max Ernest didn't read his email that afternoon. As it turned out, at that very moment that Max Ernest and Benjamin were shaking hands, Yoyogi was replying to Max Ernest's email and writing earlier about Benjamin. Here's the subject line to Yoyogi's reply. Dude, you better read this right now. Unfortunately, Max Ernest wouldn't read Yoyogi's message until it was too late. Of course, I could reproduce it for you now, but think it's best that you experience the events in the same order as Maxer's did. This book is much more fun that way, at least for me. For you, I imagine it makes it much more stressful.